Today, we're covering Disney's biggest secret branding strategies.
To all those that come to this happy place, welcome.
Besides being one of the most noticeable brands on this planet, why even cover them in the first place? Well, to begin with, they have one of the most loyal fan bases in the entire world. And if that's something that's not intriguing to you, then this might not be the right channel for you. But if you're interested in at least learning on how to build a brand that's going to have a loyal fan base and people that keep coming to you, whether it's in business, friends, or family, then stick along because this is going to be one hell of a ride. So starting today, we're going to be covering Disney's biggest tip first, and that's storytelling. Every brand, no matter if it's in the entertainment business like Disney or someone who may own a business that cuts grass, they cut hair, maybe they're a banker, maybe they sell life insurance, maybe they're a car salesman. It's all about a person telling a story. If you can tell a story efficiently and effectively, literally there's no limit. People will always come to you. Storytelling is such a big thing for Disney that even the former EVP, Andrew Zuckerman, I had to write that name down because if not, I was going to forget it, says storytelling is in their DNA. It's where we start and end every day at Disney. If that doesn't tell you at least a little bit about what they do, then it's concerning. Disney is very clear and upfront that their main purpose is to sell a story, to sell their brand, and to keep their products moving forward. Disney's storytelling is so good that not only is it just simply telling stories, they've created entire worlds and universes based off their capability of being able to effectively tell their story. Their products, like their movies, their shows, their television networks, their hotels, their food chains, and even their parks would not be where they are today and may not even exist at all if it wasn't for the Walt Disney's capability of being able to tell an efficient and effective story that pulls on the heartstrings of all the individuals that he was actually chasing for. Walt Disney was so good at telling a compelling story that it literally pulled at your heartstrings. So much so that even today, in 2023 going into 2024, that Disney requires that every single story that they produce, whether it's in the park, in a movie, in a show, or in their music, it requires them to go, I need to pull at all the heartstrings and all the senses of every single person that walks in their door. So what does this mean for you? Are you capable of doing what Disney does? Probably not, but that's okay. We all start somewhere. It's how can you sell your experience better? That every person, whether it's a customer, your friends, or some new person that you meet, what if it's at your work or a new place that you're going to work for? What if it's a new career that you're chasing? How can you sell yourself or the product, the brand, the company that you want to get in front of people? Use the experience of Disney. Tell your story. If you don't know what your story is, sit down and write it down. If you can't do that, if you can't effectively communicate, read books, watch videos, or listen to podcasts on effective communication. It's so vital that you learn this that I put it at the beginning of this video for a reason. If you cannot tell your story or you cannot sell yourself, now we're not saying that I want you to manipulate yourself, but I want you to be able to tell your story in a compelling way. If you can't do that, ultimately, you're going to run into more failures, and they keep adding up. And it really diminishes a person and their capabilities or their skills to move forward. Strategy 2 is the brand experience that Disney actually sells. And it actually started in the parks of Walt Disney because it was Walt's vision to go, if I want to really be able to tell a story, it's the touch points that people interact with my story first that matters. So in the beginning, yes, he had his animation studio, but where he really got big was the parks. That's what built the foundation of Disney's brand. If he could sell a story and really pull somebody in through captivating views, smells, sights, and sounds, Disney was like, I can pretty much get anyone to come to my park. Most people don't realize that Disney was also just a smart businessman, and that's why the company is still around today. Walt developed the parks to reach out and connect or engage with every person, no matter what the age was, from an infant to someone in their 90s and hundreds. He wanted to be able to captivate each person that actually came into the park I want them to have such an experience that they're going to say good things about me. Word of mouth marketing, which I still believe is probably the strongest form of marketing that exists today, and get them to come back time after time after time, with also having a new experience each and every time that they came in. So to attract his customers, or his audience, which is the real key here, his audience, is that he wanted to pull at the heartstrings, like I've said, but realistically, what does that mean? Is that he wanted to apply something and engage every sense that a person has when they walk into a gate. The most iconic one is what most people may not even realize, is that as soon as they walk into the park, they're engaged immediately. They have the smell of popcorn going through the streets. They have the castle look bigger in the distance with buildings getting smaller. The other sounds that are in the parks or around the park go with the specific location that you're in. These little minute details cause a person to fully engage with what's going on in their environment, and it leaves a very memorable mark in their mind. It's the same thing that you will have to do. Again, whether it's in business or it's something for you specifically, you have to be able to leave a memorable mark that someone goes, no matter what, this is how or why I think of this person. So if it's your product, it's yourself, or the things that you do, sell your story and use a brand experience at all time for someone to go, that's him, and this is why. Strategy 3 is know your audience. If you don't know who either you're selling to, the product that you're developing is for, and you're just going, I'm going to throw something at the wind, chances are you're never going to do it. So, how do we make this more efficient? It's learn your audience first and then sell them something. You have to be able to communicate effectively to them, so always start there. Once you learn how to communicate what you are trying to tell or what you are trying to sell, then you have to know your audience, because you have to know specifically where you're trying to go. There's actually an example of this in Disney's Forte, where they actually got it wrong first and then had to frantically change. When they opened up Tokyo Disneyland, they actually started serving food that was native to the culture of the Japanese, such as sushi and rice. What was really, really strange, though, is that they learned after a few months that their product just was not selling. Their food was kind of tanking. This was concerning. They couldn't figure out why. So when they started going around and engaging with their customer, their audience, turns out they actually wanted a true Disney American experience. Disney had to frantically change their menus, get new food shipped in, just to be able to get it to their audience. And rather quickly, things change. Their food sales went through the roof. Their audience wanted something that they were not providing. They thought they were doing the right thing, but they actually didn't know their audience initially. So of course you have to learn to adapt. You're never going to get it right, and there's only so much information that you can pull out in the beginning. But as time goes on, you have to be willing to understand your audience to be able to sell effectively so the product gets where it needs to go. Number 4 is design your experience, meaning what are you actually giving to the people that you're talking to, you're engaging with. Disney is probably the best at this because they think of everything to engage their audience. From the small details of what someone smells when they're walking into the park, the type of concrete that they use that people walk on, the colors of the buildings and the concrete to make sure that the castle in the distance looks right and that the colors pop on your camera, so when you show people, the image looks magical. An example, like I've said earlier, is that Disney actually designed a product, and they call it the Smellitzer. When you first walk in to the park, like as soon as you get underneath the gates, you are instantly hit with the aroma of popcorn. And it is a designed smell that is pumped through systems that you instantly start smelling it. Now, there is a popcorn cart as you get in there, but the smell would never be that strong in a wide open space. They want you to feel like you're walking into the movie theater, that you're on a set and that you're about to watch and live in a movie. That's why the audience or the workers are considered cast members. You immediately step into a world of imagination and wonder, so it pulls at your heartstrings. How can you do that for your brand? What are the little things that you can do? Is it you own a storefront and you sell furniture, and I am trying to design a pathway that is open and engaging, and that when somebody walks in, they're like, I want this in my living room, or I want this to be my house. How can you do it when you work at a restaurant and that you are serving a table? It's from the second that they sit down, that server needs to engage with the people at that table as if they've been best friends. They want to have a wonderful experience. And that is every person that you come across. It's a friend, it's a coworker, it's a client, it's a customer. Your audience needs to be able to feel the experience that you're trying to give off. If the experience is not well written, if the experience is not well given, eventually you're going to fail. Failing's not bad, but if you continue to do it without learning from that experience, that's where issues arrive. And you always wonder, how do I get out of it? How do I make a change? I feel like I'm always at a dead end. It starts with you, and it starts with the experience that you're trying to sell. We all can't run and build theme parks, but that doesn't mean that we can't build a cohesive and magical experience for each and every person that you come in contact with. Here are some questions to think about whenever you're building your brand. If there was one word that you could communicate to your audience that would sell your brand, what would that be? It's something that you need to think about. A lot of people think Disney as magical, happy. What would your one word be? Is it professional? Is it comical? Is it simple, easy? What is the word that you want people to know you by? That one word can change your fan base. Question 2. What feeling are you trying to give off? If you sell security systems, is the feeling that you're trying to sell safe? If you're selling cars, is it I'm trying to feel as like this is a family vehicle, or I want to go fast, like exhilarating? Is it I'm at a restaurant and I'm eating some wholesome food so I feel comfortable? What is the feeling that you're trying to sell? It's important. So, 2, what is the word that you want to be compelled with? 2, what is the feeling that you want somebody to be compelled with? And last question is, do you want to inspire? Do you want to motivate? Do you want to educate? And the list can go on and on. These questions build your brand, and it builds your personal brand, your experience that you have with everyone around you. So answer them. Seriously, sit down and write with a piece of paper and pen that I need to know exactly what my brand is that I'm trying to sell. Whether you own a business or not, everyone has a brand. It's you. Your uniqueness makes you who you are and is your brand's foundation. So please answer these questions with the best of your ability let me know what they are in the comments below. I'm always trying to learn what other people's brands are, not only just because I want to be able to help other people, is that I'm no expert. I still need help myself, so maybe there's something that you know that you can help me with. And last strategy is practicing the art of generational fan base, meaning generation after generation knows who you are. Most of the time it's through word of mouth or that the brand has just gotten that big like Disney. If you can build a generational fan base, your business and your personality and your person will definitely succeed. It might not be as big as Disney, but you're going to make a huge impact. So how do you do this? You have to build engagement. You have to make happy customers. You have to increase your retention. You have to have positive word of mouth, and you have to be able to adapt to your audience. Your audience is human. All they want to be is engaged. Do your best to give them a story to be engaged and tug at their heartstrings. So that's a wrap. I hope you got something helpful out of this, and that you and I have started a journey that will hopefully lead to generational fan base. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love for you to subscribe. This is early on in my journey as well, and that you'll learn from me just as much as I learn from you. I appreciate your time. For now, be you, be great, and I'll see you in the next one.